I'm Tess Ramirez. I'm Logan's mom.
And I'm Johnny, Logan's dad.
And we just wanted to sit down and kind of discuss a little bit about some of the diagnosis we have for Logan and when it all started. And if you guys have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and comment below. And make sure that you subscribe at the end of the video if you haven't already. And share. Thank you. So what do you want to start with? Like when it started, roughly?
Sure.
I think that we noticed something around when Logan was maybe 2.5 or so.
About 2.5, 3 years old.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years old. We had been seeing the pediatrician regularly. We did miss his Welch. Well, we didn't miss his Welch. You gonna come and join us? That's his sister, Peyton. We noticed the issue about 2.5, 3 years old. We missed a certain screening that happens around 18 months old of age, but the doctor didn't have any concerns then. It was almost as if it just kind of appeared overnight. He started having symptoms, and some of those symptoms were he used to be able to count 1 through 20. He knew all body parts, shapes, colors, you know, all the typical things a 2.5, 3-year-old would know or should know. He's always been kind of like ahead of the curve, I would say, and from the beginning milestones he reached much faster than the average aged child. But we brought him in because he went from speaking to just grunting one day, and we thought, oh, maybe he's just not wanting to talk today, blah blah blah. But it ended up being what's called regressed autism. Now both Johnny and I and Logan have taken genetic testing, as well as spoken to some pretty high top geneticists, I should say, in Arizona. Now either of us don't possess the gene for autism. It was never apparent when he was born nor after birth. It literally appeared overnight, which is why they called it regressed autism. He also has a severe language and speech delay. He is getting a lot better. He chats a lot, but he is improving every day. However, because of the regression, they have to stay on top of it all the time, in fear that if he's not constantly learning, he may forget or go back again. What else? ADHD. He's got severe ADHD. We aren't medicating for it. I don't think that we need to medicate for it. I don't think that we would unless it hindered him so much that it was obvious he needed help. We don't really go for medication as our first and foremost thing unless it's an absolute necessity. Now, what works for us may not work for you guys, though.
Sensory processing.
Yeah, he has sensory processing disorder. Now, that's a term that's some people won't use, some doctors won't use, some schools won't use, but it is a thing. I believe it is a thing. I do think it's important. I do think for us personally, it stems to a lot of meltdowns, behavioral meltdowns, and just difficulties when we're out in public or out near people that may not understand. Now with that, his specific triggers would be the bathroom. Bathrooms are major triggers, and not only because of the automatic flushing, it could be the automatic hand drying. I mean, what did you experience? Anything else? Maybe just the people?
It's not home.
Yeah, definitely not home. He likes to go potty at home for sure. And then we got a few diagnoses the other day for some learning disabilities. Now, I'm not going to get too much into those just because he's still so young. He's only 5, and we're going to have a reassessment done at 6, as of most states do. And once he gets his reassessment at 6, it's very clear that autism is a contributing factor. But once he gets his reassessment at 6, he won't have another one until he's 18 years of age, which is kind of neat because then we're not having to jump through like hurdles and ropes with like insurance and therapies and all of that stuff.
And we've been through it.
Yeah, so having to move from California to Arizona, it's been pretty tough because we essentially had to start all over. And the tough part about that was when we were back in California, we were just getting it going. We were working with some wonderful people we truly liked, which doesn't always happen. You get stuck with some crap people sometimes. When we moved, we basically had to redo everything, all assessments, and even when you move within the county, we had to redo everything. So we moved into city in Arizona. Now we're not going to say exactly where. Some of you may know that, but just for privacy purposes, we won't give out all our information. But we moved into towns, the city limits, and we did end up getting, unfortunately, stuck with an awful school, an awful teacher. He was in a self-contained class, which means it was a special needs class of kids similar to even physically disabled children. So there's like a wide variety that gets stuck in the class. It was only preschool too. It was the second year of preschool. We did 2 years because of the regression. We felt like maybe it would be best to kind of start them off on a better foot. But I'm thankful that we were able to move into the county limits. Now with that though, we had to start everything all over again. He's on something called an IEP. Now there's 2 different things that you can get if you're thinking you notice something different in your kid. Maybe not as severe as what Logan has, and even then Logan doesn't have something that's so severe. There's even kids who have more severe of his issues, or I shouldn't say issues, but atypical behaviors that can't do as much as he is capable of doing. With that, they have like things called 504 plans and IEPs. A 504 plan is something I would recommend getting on if you are just starting out and you're not sure what's going on, and say your kid only has like ADHD or something like that, or ADD, or some ODD, anything like that. That's where I would recommend to start. Because that can transition to an IEP. Now with the 504, what they do is it's an immediate action. Now here in our school system, it's an immediate action that they take and place on the child at school. And then during that time, they have several people come and see the child, like a psychologist. It's like a group of people that are assessing your child. They're either engaging with your child or watching your child engage with others or the teacher or anything like that, peers. Now, once the 504 is completed, you end up staying in the 504 for, say, your kid just can't sit down all the time because he's fiddling. Maybe not ADD or ADHD, but just not within the norm of what's expected as of a child. And even if there is, and then if they feel the need that he needs more or she needs more, they'll swap you over onto an IEP. Now this is what happens in our county from my knowledge. We didn't really stay in California long enough to know how California works, and each state is so different, especially with their resources. Now we're in a really small town in
Unfortunately.
Arizona. Yeah, unfortunately, in Arizona, but up and coming, definitely. I think so.
We had a rough start.
Yeah, definitely a rough start.
Things
But
are getting better.
yeah, things are getting better. The resources are slowly coming in, but they need so much more. They have more resources in the bigger towns, like you would hear like Phoenix. Everybody knows where Phoenix is. Obviously, they would have more resources there. However, I'm crossing my fingers we get something going within the next few years here, for even like we're set for the most part now, but
Yeah.
even for people who are coming in or deciding maybe they want to move like into small towns, and maybe that might be a deterrent. Have faith. It will change, I promise. There's more need than there is available, so there's more people that need these resources than they have people to accommodate them. So that's kind of what's going on right now, but I don't know.
We definitely got stuck in the back burner at the beginning.
Yeah,
We really had a fight to get what he has now.
yeah, we definitely
And
did.
it's not easy. Don't give up.
Yeah, don't.
It's going to be tough. If you ever get stuck in our situation, it's going to be tough, and don't give up. When you have somebody like her, she won't take no for an answer. She doesn't give up, and she'll just go through people until we get what we needed.
Yeah, every day I was on the phone with his insurance. They have these great people called, what are they, like, I don't know. They're like the head of insurance for your specific case. Now, that's how Arizona works, and I love it. I don't remember having anything like this in California. I was on the phone with them every day, maybe even a couple times a day, while running my errands and taking care of my other two and doing regular things, because I had to push. I had to make myself a squeaky wheel to get what I needed. And even to this day, we may have gotten into a better situation as far as our school goes, because they have something called an autism class now.
Which is awesome.
Awesome. But I'm still pushing on his IEP. There are still things on there that shouldn't be on there or should be on there that I'm still having to refine. And there's always room for improvement, because you are your child's voice. Even if your kid can speak for themselves and maybe is more high functioning than Logan, you still are their voice. You are the one that pushes to make things happen for your kid. And the number one thing I would recommend and would have to say, and I think we can both agree on this, is don't be embarrassed. You're only going to hinder your child if you just don't get it checked out. What's the worst that can happen? They say no, they say yes. It doesn't change the way you love your child. It just makes maybe life sometimes a little harder, but you still love your child the same. I'd say the one thing that's bothered me in all of this, as Logan grows, is behaviors of adults and behaviors of peers his age or even older. We get a lot of stares because he essentially looks normal. He doesn't look, like he has anything going on. It's not blatantly obvious until you interact with him.
Right.
And even then you may not know something's wrong. You just might think he's a little quirky or weird or, just eccentric.
Best example for that is when Logan was 4, we took him to Disneyland.
Yeah, 4.
We got the handicap, what do they call them?
I don't know. I'd say it's like a
It's like
sticker,
the
kind of like a
handicap
car
stickers
placard, but it's a sticker that goes on
For
your...
the stroller. So
yeah.
basically, he gets treated like as if he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
We got tons of stares and questions. How come you guys have that? Why do you need that?
Yeah.
How did you guys even manage to get that? And we
even got people laughing.
Yes.
They kind of chuckled as if we were playing a game or the system, which, I mean, that's fine and dandy. I don't take offense to it. Do what you want. But, just know at the end of the day, you are ruining it for the people who actually need these services. And maybe if you have that look, maybe don't say it to the parents or in front of the child. Maybe just keep that thought to yourself is for the best. Like I was saying earlier, I get it a lot from adults and from other children. It's kind of disturbing, actually.
Irritating.
Yeah, and I feel bad that they don't know and don't have the resources to know, because if you're not blessed with a child that's like Logan or even indifferent from him and have something else going on, you don't know how to react. I mean, I do remember as a child in school having kids that were like my son, and I was a nice person. I'm not saying everybody's mean or anything, but I did kind of like look and was like, that's interesting. Like, didn't really hang out with them, but still was like, hi, go hang out with my friends. So being now that the shoe's on my foot and I'm watching my kid go through it, it does hurt me a little bit. It's hard. I mean, I've actually had adults come up to me and tell me that my child is like ill-behaved and misbehaved and, we need to do something about it. And I'm thinking, okay, but he's not having a meltdown right now. Like, oh, I can't have that toy. I'm upset about that. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't do that. He definitely does. He's 5, okay? But there are times that there's a sensory meltdown, which anything could have triggered it, anything. It can even change per day, but sometimes it's too much noise or too much light, or there's too many people around him, or there's too many people talking. A new trigger for him is laughter. even light laughter to belly gut laughter is a trigger, and he might just end up having a meltdown because he just cannot process it at that moment. And there's nothing you can do about it. As long as he's not harming himself or somebody else, you just kind of have to ride it out. And, you know, to all those people out there, you know, I can't stay at home every day just because my child may or may not have a meltdown a couple hours every day throughout the day. Like, I just can't do that. And so even if somebody doesn't have a child with Logan's needs, if you see them and their kids, you know, misbehaving, coming up to them and telling them something negative isn't going to help. How about just don't come up to them at all? Or if you see that they need help, how about you offer a helping hand? That's probably the best thing ever. And then they can decide if they want your help or not. I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's probably one of the biggest pet peeves I have. Is people coming up to me and assuming, not knowing our situation just because it's not blatantly obvious our kid has something going on. And B would be the peer thing. A lot of kids aren't maybe used to children like him, specifically him, and he can be really outgoing when it comes to certain things. He also gets very fixated on specific subjects and does not want to talk about what you want to talk about. And that is something that we as a team with his therapist, his teacher, and us are working on, but that is going to be very difficult. Don't not engage with him. He wants so desperately to play with you. He just plays differently. And I just hope as years get better and he gets older that, you know, it changes. He loves to play. He just wants to be a kid too. So that's it in a nutshell, really. It has been difficult moving states, like I said earlier. We've essentially had to start over twice already, being in this state for a little over a year now, huh? Yeah. But don't let that deter you either. I mean, you're going to be fighting, and for the rest of their lives, even past 18, you're going to be fighting the system. You're going to be fighting with the insurance. You're going to be fighting with the schools. You're going to be fighting with the teachers. You're going to be fighting with therapists. Do it. Like... You make enough roar and you'll get what you want, because ultimately you are the parent. You are with the child 24/7, and enough times that you make a big stink about something that's important to you and your child, it's going to happen. I mean, I feel like I'm with a great new team now. I primarily manage him and the team and everything while Dad's at work, but you know, I tell him everything that's happening. He sees it. Some days are harder than others, like any other parent, you know, juggling everything. I feel like I have a 24/7 job on top of being mom, but it's worth it. I'm learning new things. I want to be my child's voice. I also want to be an activist because, like I said, there aren't enough resources going around for these children. And at the same time, ASD, what he's diagnosed with, autism spectrum disorder, it's a spectrum, like what the name entitles in it. It's so wide. Every kid that has this diagnosis is so different. You're not going to find, it's not like the puzzle piece that's used to associate with autism at all. Every child is just so different, and they completely fit the mold. You know, I don't know. Logan's just a regular kid with a little extra something, and it makes it so much more fun every day. The kid's got a memory of an elephant, I tell you, on certain things. When it comes to regular everyday activities, no. But when it comes to games and toys and characters and places we've been, and promises, yeah, you can't promise the kid something without getting it. He will hold you to it for forever. Actually, he never gives up. He's very strong-willed. Definitely one of his greatest assets. But like, you ask anybody around, a kid with autism, just focusing on one trait of his, it's so different. You want to say hi? This is Lucas, our littlest. Hi, Lucas. He's going to be 4 months on the 9th. But yeah, if this is just our introduction video, you know, trying to get to know us and Logan a little bit. We're hoping that we can put in more videos with Logan involved when he's not at school like he is now. And we'd also love for you to comment any questions, anything that you might know that we don't know. I mean, we're all here learning together, and maybe something works for us that doesn't work for you. And I'd like to know what works for you. Who knows, it might work for us. We might want to try it. I mean, this is our time to trade assets of what knowledge I know and what knowledge you know and what's out there. Like if you're in the Arizona area, you're in a small town, I'd love to talk. I'd love to, you know, touch base, because just dealing with what we had to deal with within the last year, I feel pretty knowledgeable. I have tons of resources given to me. Now, some of the resources don't work because of the type of insurance my son has, but I mean, we don't all have the same insurance. So maybe you can get on the waiting list for something. Maybe there's something available for you and I know about the resource and you need, like ABA therapy, speech therapy, OT therapy. And OT is not just for physical disabilities, it's also for you know, neuro things that are going on that just aren't coming out correctly. And you know, kind of want to just leave you guys with this is, please just don't be embarrassed. Take your kid in, get them checked, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, you're only hurting your kid if you don't give them the resources they need. Yeah, maybe they're doing well in school and maybe they have friends, but that doesn't mean that you can't provide something for them later on by getting them, you know, checked out if you feel there's something off there, or maybe you don't know and you just want to know. Everybody always needs improvement. Nobody's perfect, you know, and it's upsetting sometimes to see when people are either embarrassed or don't get their children services that need services, that you can clearly see need services, just because, oh, they're doing fine in school, oh, they have friends, they don't need this. What's going to happen when they're out of school? What's going to happen then? You're not setting them up, you know, if they need it. Some don't, some do. Some need a little helping hand, and why not? You get matched with these sources and resources that can help the child out from when you're not here, or you know, if you are here but you want them to do a little bit more of independent living, there are options. Don't be embarrassed. Support them. You want to say anything?
I think covered
Pretty
it.
much, yeah.
All of it.
Go ahead and comment below again if you want to talk about something specific maybe that we mentioned in the video, or something that we didn't mention that you'd like to hear our intake about. I would love to know what you guys would be interested in watching next. Now, you know, we're not going to do all these sit down boring videos the whole time. I might pop in every once in a while and do them, but I'd also like you to kind of see the day in the life of Logan too, you know. You know, he's in school pretty late though, but we'll still get a few videos and edit them together for you guys. But we really appreciate you taking the time to watch our video, and please subscribe, okay? Link below. Thank you. Bye.